All right, guys. Another great episode of PFREI, Passion for Real Estate Investments. I'm your host, Fuquan Bilal. Oh, man, you guys are going to be excited. I got a great guest today, Uncle Karl. What's going on, buddy?
Just doing crazy air deals, excess proceeds, judgments, just all this weird stuff that a lot of people don't talk about. Just getting into the weeds and some crazy ass deals.
Yeah, we're going to get into it today, buddy. So, oh man, Karl and I have known each other probably for about more than 3 years now, I think.
Yep.
We're both in a mastermind together, Collective Genius. And I think we met each other on social media, probably introduction to someone else, maybe like 4 years, 3 years ago, if I can remember. Someone
Maria.
You.
Yep.
And then you had me come on your platform, and this is the reciprocity. I'm having you on my platform to kind of share some of that knowledge and wisdom you have. So Karl actually has the hairy deals that makes a lot of big profits. Those deals that people don't want to take the time to break down and dissect. Some of them are hairy. Some of them are just actually more strategic than other deals. I'll twist it with that. So anyway, before we get started with the show, man, let people know who you are, what's your background, when you get your start in real estate, and then we'll take it from there.
Karl Spielvogel. People call me Uncle Karl. I used to own some Subway sandwich shops, hated it. I was terrible at managing them, great at acquiring through creative financing. And I'm so glad I got out of that. Buddy of mine, how I got into real estate, a buddy of mine called me up and said, hey, there's this guy named Ron the Grand, and there's some really cool real estate stuff, and you should go to his course. I'm like, what the hell? I'm tired of Subway. So I went to his course and I fell in love with what Ron was teaching. These creative ways to do stuff. I didn't realize there's so many different ways to do real estate. And that's how I got introduced into real estate, sold my Subways and jumped in and started doing deals.
Yeah, so you was already selling Subways. So you mean you sold the Subway store?
Yeah, I sold sold the Subway stores, got out of that. Don't miss it.
So when was that? Let's put a timestamp on that.
I got into real estate around 2000.
Okay.
And then I did it from 2000 to 2008. I thought I was pretty good. And then I lost everything in 2008.
You sound like a broken record, Karl.
But
I got the same story. You're not special. We've all lost everything in 2008.
But you know what? I'd love to say that it was the market, but it was more the way I was doing things. I was buying for appreciation, buying for the future, and buying with hard money. And I'm like, I don't care that I'm negative cash flowing. I've got such great properties. They're going up in value. And then the market changed and I lost everything. So I blame myself for that, for basically being a dumbass.
Being a speculator?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it was a lot of those during that time, and it really corrected a lot of people. But you're still here today. There's a lot of people who didn't even make it back. There's a lot of people who just went and, nothing wrong if they had to go get a job and feed their family. But if they were passionate about real estate, some people are still gun shy from that. It hurt really bad.
It did. I stayed in the used car business for a while. And then how I got back into real estate was I was totally broke. I owed $100,000 to people. I had a used car dealership with my ex-girlfriend that was failing. And I went around to a bunch of the real estate meetups and I ran into a guy named Mitch Young. He's my, we had done deals with in the past. And he told me, he said, look, if you can find this guy, it's a tax foreclosure, and get him under contract, we'll give you half the deal. And I had no money. So real quick, I Googled him, found out he's a used car turnaround specialist. I hired him to come work for us for a weekend, got to know him. Then he drove back to Columbia. Long story. I called him up and said, hey, I found out you have a property. It's going into tax foreclosure. I'd like to buy it. And he said, well, someone else just offered me $35,000. I'm like, well, you know us. Will you sell it to me for 35? He's like, sure. So we got the contract. Mitch funded it. We bought it and we flipped it. And we made $58,000 in 3 months.
Wow.
So that's how I got back into it with no money and just just figuring it out, and luckily Googled this guy and went from there on a tax foreclosure deal.
Wow. So why are you passionate for real estate investing? I usually ask all of the guests that come on the show that question.
I
What's your reason?
I don't know. I love the creativity, the way that so many different, like finding out niche knowledge and running into the loopholes. There's just I feel like I'm a modern day treasure hunter is what I feel like. So it's like I'm going out here hunting treasure and solving problems and making big money on these deals. And it's so exciting. Does that make sense? It's just like
It makes perfect sense because
Yeah.
it's like it's like a puzzle, right? You never have all the pieces. You're constantly trying to put this puzzle together, and it's great because it's mental stimulation, learning different parts of the business and
Yep.
different strategies within. So yeah, I get it, man. I get it. So let's just talk about some of those strategies that we kind of start off with uh, that most people don't talk about that they may not be aware that they can do. I mean, people are used to seller finance and they hear that, they hear subject to. Let's talk about some of the strategies that you're using to acquire deals these days, whether it's land or property.
Well, one of the things, we start with the property tax delinquents. We do some foreclosures, and we use our GIS system to locate our deals. So that's where they start. But the deals we dive into that were really good is we found out that like a lot of the tax delinquent, there's either judgments. We love properties with judgments because judgments, you can either buy the judgment, you can discount the judgment, you can pay to get released, or we love to wait till you can wait till it expires. So we work with judgments. We do air deals. We love properties. We love dead people. Oh my God, dead people are the best. Okay. So we'll find a property. We'll put them in the skip trace program, find out they're deceased. Typically, these are vacant properties or tax delinquents. We'll build the family tree. We'll look for the estates, and we'll either like buy out all the heir shares or we'll put it all together. And what's great about it is for a lot of these people, it's found money because they didn't know. They might have known they're an heir, but they didn't know how to put it together. There's a lot of people die intestate. So we love these heir deals. And what's so cool in these heir deals is there's so many exit strategies. If, let's say you can only buy half of it, then you could either pay the taxes off and do a partition sale, or you could let it go through the tax sale and collect excess proceeds. So we just learned so many different really cool like ways to work with heirs, ways to work with judgments. And we've also learned a lot of really cool stuff with land. We've learned how to subdivide land that doesn't look subdividable. We've learned how to combine, like there's one deal, we bought one piece, we bought another piece, combined them and cut it into 4. So we're always, and then this is really weird. There's a one piece of property that was 100 feet wide. And long story is, the lots need to be 60 feet. So you needed another 20 feet. So we went to the next door neighbor and we bought a little 20 by 30 foot section. That's all we needed to combine it to our lot. And then we were able to cut it into 2. So we're doing all this creative subdividing. We even find lots that are too small to build on. And we go through the variance process. These aren't buildable. We hire an attorney. They move the setbacks out for us, and now they become buildable. We were averaging 100,000 per variance, and these were lots we were picking up for next to nothing because they're not buildable. So we're always looking into trying to figure out the value adds, to figure out grandfathered zoning laws, legal loopholes, anything that's outside the norm is what we want to learn with and run with it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's so many creative ways to get a deal, and you guys are pretty much coming in from an angle that most people are not aware of. So some people heard of the tax liens, but you talked about judgment. So I've done some deals, and I'm pretty sure you have too. And just want to give clarity to the listeners. The type of judgments are you talking about? The ones I've done are like sewer liens or water lien judgments that I purchased, and a lot of people don't know that those liens, municipal liens, are really at the forefront. right? Whether it's taxes, water, sewer, you can foreclose, by buying that type of judgment. So were those the judgments you were talking about when you said judgments, or are you talking about tax judgments?
Well, I'm talking about IRS liens.
Okay.
I'm talking about like there's Ford Motor Credit, there's credit cards, there's hospital judgments. It's just a whole spectrum of different kinds of judgments.
Okay. So let's slow down a bit.
Okay.
So you find a property, you run title on it, and you go, oh, Ford Motor Credit got a lien on this property, 5,000. I might can get that judgment from them for 200, and I get paid off that 5,000, something like that.
Yeah, I'll give you a perfect example.
Yeah, give me.
There's a property on Industrial Way. It was a tax delinquent defunct corporation. So long story, there's a provision in North Carolina law called winding down a corporation where you don't have to reopen it. You can just have the old owners sign on the deed. So that's like a legal loophole. But they had a $73,000 judgment to HD Supply, which I think is Home Depot.
Home Depot, yeah.
And then they had another $64,000 judgment to Ford Motor Credit. Okay. So what we did is we gave them $15,000 and
Ford Motor Credit.
No, to the owners.
Oh, to the owner. Okay.
So we gave them 15,000. We took it subject to the two judgments. Okay. And this is what we know about both those. HD Supply and Ford Motor Credit, they're not very smart. They don't even realize that the people own property. Okay. They technically can foreclose, but they don't. It's something I've learned over time, but I'm not a lawyer. You check with your lawyer. Now, these judgments were also almost 8 years old. Judgments are only good, most judgments are only good for 10 years, and then they expire. Okay. Now you can also renew the judgment. They can renew the judgment, but I could go down that whole path. Most of them don't. And if they renew the judgment, it only renews against the person, not the property. So we had multiple exit strategies on this one. We could have waited 2.5 more years for both those judgments to expire. Okay. And then we wouldn't have had to pay them. But this is industrial property. The taxes were high. We wanted to sell it. So we called up HD Supply and we bought their judgment for $16,000. So this is just an example. And this is how smart you have to be able to do this. I was chicken shit to do it. So I made my attorney do it. I was afraid. So I asked my attorney, can you call for me? So my attorney called up and he did it. So again, you don't have to be, you can be chicken shit too. So anyways, he did that. And then the Ford Motor Credit, we called up and we negotiated that down from 64, 63 down to 22,000. So we bought the first judgment because a lot of times, like with judgment, it's important what position they come in. Taxes are always first, then HD Supply was clocked next, then Ford Motor Credit was after that. By buying the HD Supply judgment, that sort of protected us because that's next in order because that keeps Ford Motor Credit still in that third position. We didn't want to pay it off. So then with the Ford Motor Credit, we just did the discount on it. So anyways, long story is we made $143,000 on that one deal on initial $15,000 buying a property with judgments. And then we bought one judgment, we discounted the other, and then we sold it.
Got it. Yeah, that's a great deal. And a lot of people won't take the time to go through that, right? So you had the opportunity to see there was an opportunity how to strategically get to the finish line. And
Yep.
How long did it take you to do that deal? I mean, I know it was some time negotiating, going through that process.
I think from the time we bought it to the time we sold it was like 6 to 8 months.
That's worth it.
Yeah.
Worth it. Some people don't make that in a year.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't make that in a year.
And there's so many other, I love judgments. There's a lot of times we just wait till they expire. We'll buy properties with IRS judgments on them. Now, I've never seen the IRS foreclose on a property. I'm not saying they won't, okay? But we'll buy properties with IRS judgments and then we'll wait for them to expire. And then we'll sell the property. So that's another cool thing.
Yeah, we've done some short sales with IRS judgments, and all we had to do was, of course, if it was upside down, or show that basically if there were judgments on the property that the homeowner, the seller, they was not, benefiting anything. And we sent them a copy of the HUD and fill out some paperwork. And it takes about 2 months for them to release the judgment from the property, but keep it on the homeowner. So we've done a lot of those. We've done that in a direct, it was a tax lien on it, and the homeowner sold it to us, and they had a super big heirs judgment, and we was able to get it removed, pay the tax liens, and got the property.
Yeah.
So yeah. What other type of creative deals you doing? You talked about land, subdividing, creative adding on square footage, subdividing and selling it. Talked about tax liens. You talked about buying a property that's pretty hairy with some judgments, clouded title, strategically negotiating judgments, discounting another one. What else you got?
I love heir deals. I love finding like land and property where the owners passed away, and let's say they didn't open probate, and there's multiple heirs. I've got
I like what you said earlier, buying a percentage. Like buying, I like that. Talk about that. What's up?
So basically what we'll do is, and a fair amount of these are property tax delinquents, but they could just be a vacant house or whatever. And that's how they come on our radar. So what we'll do is, this is real quick. What we do is we'll put the person into been verified or another skip trace program, and it'll show that they're dead, or we'll look for the obituary. So once we find out they're dead, we quickly look for the estate file to see if somebody's opened an estate. I would say 80% of the time, no one's opened an estate on anybody. So then everything falls to the intestate laws. And the intestate laws are pretty basic. You can Google them. If there's a husband and wife and they both die, it goes to their children. Their children dies, it goes to their children. There are some caveats there, but it's basically pretty simple. So what we do then is we build out the family tree, and then we'll start calling the heirs to the property. Now, these are typically properties that are tax delinquent and vacant, owned by dead people. That's the trifecta. So we just build up the tree and we call the people and say, hey, look, you're heir to this property. I noticed this tax delinquent is vacant. I'm sort of just curious what your plans are. This way it opens up to a conversation about what they're planning to do. A lot of times they're like, I don't know what to do. I'm fighting with my brother, or I don't even know all the heirs or whatever. And then we make a deal with them and say, hey, look, we can buy out your share. And they're usually shocked, like, what? They've already told us there's nothing they can do. And then we'll make them a deal. One, and we do two types of deals typically. One, where we'll pay them a certain amount of cash and they're done. Another one where we pay them a little bit of cash up front and more once we clear the title. So we give them options. But by buying the percentages out, most people think you have to own all of the property, but we don't care if we get all of it. Do we want it? We do. But what's really cool is, let's say we end up with like 60% of it. Okay. Now we own 60% of it. We can, at this point, we can do what's called a partition sale, where we just go to the court and they take the property they take it for sale at the courthouse. Now we own 60%. So if it goes for really high at the courthouse, we let the sale go through and we collect excess proceeds on the 60%. If it goes for lower, we'll buy it because we already own 60%, and then we'll have clear title, and then we'll sell the property and we'll collect the excess proceeds on the 60%.
I love it.
So basically, that's why I like these heir deals, because a lot of times it's messy, there's problems, and they don't want to deal with it.
All the time it is, Carl. All the time.
Yes. And so we're there, and they're happy because they're getting something and we're solving their problem.
Yeah. I've done a few deals like that. And, when it comes down to it, it's all about the money. Who's getting what? How much is this person getting more than me? I'm not signing any paperwork till I know it's, yeah.
And I love when they're fighting, because this is what I tell them. This happened the other day. It's like, we called the people. I'll give you the address. It's 2122 Abelwood. And we called them and said, you're one of the heirs. I'm sort of curious. They're like, we hate our sister. She's holed up the house. She'll never sell. And I said, you know what? I want you to go talk to her. You may hate her, but if you guys get together, I'm going to pay you a lot more money. I said, I'm not even going to talk to you for 2 weeks. You guys go work it out. And I said, make a deal. I don't, because you're going to get more money. Waited 2 weeks, called them back. We can't make a deal with their sister. She's too difficult. So then I bought their shares out. So there's a lot of really ways, but I would have rather them work together. I would have rather them paid them more money. I really wanted to, but they couldn't work it out. So it cost them all money because then I had to buy
Yeah.
the shares out, and then I'm going to be forced to do a partition sale now.
Yeah. The only thing that really, I don't want to say bothered me, but it was really weird because the house was in tax foreclosure, and I made everybody an offer, and I'm like, guys, like you were going to lose the house and get nothing. Like I'm, you know, giving you something, but it wasn't enough. They wanted to be partners. So, but they didn't have the money to pay the tax bill.
It's weird. A lot of people, they put their heads in the sand, and I just
But there's no skin in the game from them, so it doesn't matter,
yeah,
especially if the property wasn't in a name. But
yeah.
yeah, man, let's jump to the market real quick.
Okay.
We're in Q1 of 2023. I'm glad we're here. I think we got some muddy waters ahead, navigating through choppy waters, actually, I should say. Your business model is a little different. From what I'm hearing is, you're direct to the seller. You're strategically getting these off-market deals. How was this, if at all, affecting you? Because more inventory is coming to the market. So, but those deals that people don't want to touch, people are starting to look at those now because it's a way for them to get a discount to afford some of that financing. So, how is the market affecting you and your business strategy?
Well, we held some lots we should have sold in March of last year. So I'd say it's hurting us in the fact that we do a lot of land, a lot of creative subdividing and stuff like this. So it's hurting us because there's less buyers for the land right now. Builders have put on a pause, so it's harder to sell the land, and we have to sell it for cheaper. So it's hurt some of our margins. And then we do a few renovations and wholesale some of the houses, and it's been more difficult to get things sold. But at the same time, we're buying stuff at such low margins because of the problems. We're still being able to make a good profit. But I think the market for us, there's always going to be these type of weird deals out there. So I think we'll always be okay. If you're doing these niche weird deals, I would say there's always going to be a good profit in it. But the market has affected us. It's made it a little bit harder, and our money's gotten tighter because it's taken us longer to sell the lots and the houses. And because our stuff is so messy, it hurts us because we have to pay cash for most of our stuff because no one loans money on it. So it's affected us. It's gotten a little scary sometimes because we held too much stuff. And I see the market getting better come April, May. I think there's a pent-up demand. I think interest rates have fallen a little bit. I think that the market's going to get better. I might get a little bit worse, but I think starting April, May, it'll get better. But that's now this is coming from a guy that lost everything in 2008. So take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I was actually going to interrupt and push back. I was trying to let you finish because, just like every business owner, we want to be optimistic and always hope for the best.
Yeah.
But man, I'm preparing for 24 months of just like hell. That's what we're preparing for. I have a different view. I don't think it's going to get better in the next few months. That's what we all want, right? We want interest rates to go down, want everything to normalize. But I think Q4 2024, we'll start seeing some like differences. I don't think rates are going to go back below 5 or 6. I think it's going to go up more and kind of settle out maybe where we were at in 2007, 2006, 7%, somewhere around there. This is the lowest it's ever been forever. Like if you look at it historically over the last 30 years, rates have never been this low. I don't remember. I mean, when I got into real estate in 99, it was 7%, 7.5%. If it was in the areas where we were selling that were red line areas, they were 9%, 12%. And, so, the rates that are right now, I mean, even though we have inflation, rates are high, but I think we're going to probably go up a bit and settle down at 6.5, somewhere around there, 7, maybe. Who knows? We'll see though.
But
so I want to be optimistic just like you, but I'm just preparing for the worst.
But It's also fair amount of it is local. For example, our market is still doing pretty well, Charlotte. But if you're in, let's say, Phoenix, it's fallen quite a
Oh
bit.
yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
I think that, you also have to look at like Charlotte's growing like crazy. People are moving here. I still think, let's say some other markets will continue to fall. Charlotte's may fall a little bit, but it's not, I don't think it's going to be like the rest of certain markets. I could be wrong. This is
No, you're right about that. It is local. You're right about that. And certain pockets, a place that grow fast will be affected. I'm just seeing a major slowdown. Like I don't, because I'm in the Northeast. It's still I won't say booming. Properties are not going under contract under a week, 30% of a list like it was. Nothing is selling below list, and it's taking about a month to get under contract, which is, to me, that's a normal market.
Yeah.
So, but it's taking longer, right?
Yep.
I used to like, actually, when I would go see a house and you had to stand up in size order to get in, and by the time you got in the front door, there was already a contract signed. You're like, I didn't even see the house yet. Next, buddy, next house. So I was like, wow, what happened to those days? I don't know if we'll ever see that again. It was bananas.
It was crazy. That's why I like going after stuff we go after, because very few people will take the time and the effort to do those kind of things. So I think for what we go after, it's always going to be opportunities, I think.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
maybe some people watch this podcast and come my competition in Charlotte, and I'll be wrong.
There's no competition, Carl. The only competition is yourself. You know that.
Yeah. I do a little bit of scarcity mentality.
Yeah. I'm just teasing.
I try to keep it in check, but I got to admit, I do a little bit.
So let's tell the people where they can find you at. Give me some websites, give me some social media handles. You do a lot of you do some education too, right?
No, I shut down my mastermind to concentrate on deals. I wasn't
Okay.
doing the mastermind, and I'll just give people my phone number. I mean, it's Karl Spielvogel or Uncle Karl. You can follow me. I don't have like any courses or anything. And I'll just give you my phone number if you want to call me. It's 704-995-5385. Or we have a really good business number. It's easy, 704-777-7777.
You can't forget that. Yeah, that's easy to remember, guys. Yeah, I get what you're saying with the education. I did the same thing in 2017. I took off the educator hat and stopped doing the masterminds and basically focused on business. And because you got family too, right? So you want to help people. I kind of converted in 2018 over to social media and used that for like helping people. People DM me. I give them guidance, give them information, inspire them, motivate them, all of that stuff. This is the purpose we're doing this podcast, right? So to add value to people out there who's just getting started, who want to learn more information. This is my way of giving back. And people reach out, I get to connect them with great people like you to further help them. So yeah, I really appreciate you giving out that information. And oh man, you guys, this is a great show, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on, and it's another great episode of PFREI, Passion for Real Estate Investments. Make sure you guys check us out on YouTube, like and share. Check us out on all the social media platforms, all the podcast platforms. Tell a friend, tell a friend. Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate your time, and it's been a pleasing pleasure.
All right. I appreciate you having me on.